the Catholic military orders are among the most famous fighting forces of the medieval period, serving as the tip of Christendom's lance for several centuries and earning them a reputation which lasts even today. However, like many idealized groups and individuals from eras before our own, these martial orders have accrued a great deal of myth, legend, and fabrication, which must be dispelled so that the truth can be revealed. In this mini-series on the religious orders of Latin Christendom, we will cover the three most famous: the Teutonic Knights, Templars, and the subject of our first video, the Hospitallers. A perfect example of how war changes everything affected by it.
Yo, this content is so manly. Like the manliest content I've ever seen. I should put my Crusader video on for this one? Okay. You know what? Fair enough. Good call. Good call. Alright. I can't put the sword up though, because the sword is like, it's so big.
The order of the famous Hospitaller Knights did not begin with caparison-clad horses, fully armored warriors, and lances couched towards a heathen enemy. Instead, in many ways, one of the most famous holy orders began in a far more humble and peaceful manner. Rather than warriors, the Hospitallers had their origins as an order of caretakers who nevertheless harkened back to pre-Roman history for mythical origins. It is said that long before Christ died on the cross, a legendary Greek king known as Antiochus, whose realm occupied Jerusalem, wished to viciously punish a Jewish high priest known as Melchior for desecrating the tomb of David. However, divine intervention supposedly persuaded the king to have mercy on the condemned man, and instead build a hospital in Jerusalem. This hospital would later shelter the Virgin Mary, the Apostles, and even Christ himself. The mythology of King Antiochus's foundation of this earliest hospitaller institution is almost certainly false, but what became the Church of St. John the Baptist in Jerusalem may have had charitable hospices assisting Latin pilgrims as early as 603, when Pope Gregory I founded one there. Centuries passed with little detail, during which the Proto-Hospitallers provided for Christian pilgrims in Muslim-controlled Jerusalem. As aid, the hospices received contributions from wealthy European benefactors, such as the Amalfitan merchant Mauro of Pantalleone. With their assistance and funds, many further hospitals were probably established and disbanded on nearby sites in Jerusalem, but we know little of the detail. However, the Hospital of St. John proper was founded between 1063 and 1070 in Fatimid-controlled Jerusalem, serving as a combination of an infirmary for the sick and a way station or lodging house for weary travelling pilgrims. The medieval period was an age in which—
Oh wait, did hospital come from them? Or did they take the name hospital?
These two functions often fused. 70 years later, a chronicler known as William of Tyre referred to the hospital as a xenodochium, in which were gathered many people, well and sick. Everything changed for the hospital in the year 1099, when Latin Crusaders first laid siege to Jerusalem during the First Crusade. Most of the city's small Christian population had already been expelled from the city, but the hospital's head, Gerard, stayed behind to tend the sick. At this point, we receive another foundation legend rooted within the siege itself. Gerard, who understandably had sympathies with his fellow Christians suffering in siege outside the walls, supposedly took loaves of bread to the walls and threw them at the starving army outside. To do this, he pretended that the loaves were rocks to attack the enemy force, but he was in fact feeding them. Muslim guards realized what was happening and brought Gerard to their commander, but when they did, all of the bread carried by Gerard had miraculously turned to stone. The rector was freed, and when Jerusalem was conquered, he received gifts from the Crusader leaders for his assistance. Over a decade later, the Hospital of St. John gained its independence from the larger churches surrounding it when Pope Paschal II issued the PA Postulatio Voluntatis on February 15, 1113. This took the hospital and everything it acquired under the Pope's personal authority, and directed these resources towards the sustenance of pilgrims and the poor. Payment of tithes to the church were halted. The order was granted the right to elect its future masters from its own ranks, and the Proto-Hospitaller Order was elevated higher than any similar institution in Europe at the time. Following the First Crusade, and especially after the order became an independent entity, it also began to militarize and take the form which we know it as commonly. From a simple hospital taking care of the sick, the order began to morph truly into the Knights Hospitaller. When the Crusade concluded with the seizure of Jerusalem in 1099, many of the victorious Crusaders
they look so fucking badass.
went home. However,
those like fucking cloaks, they look so badass.
Large contingents of knights did stay in the Holy Land to continue their holy duties, and it is here that we can find the origins of the Order's knights. A 17th century manuscript remnant.
Do you guys think that, like, I mean, it's probably true that that Warhammer is just like the modern version of like that. It's like people see like Warhammer and they're like, oh, it looks so cool, like so fucking dripped out. Like, look at that guy, it looks so cool. That's probably like why people like it so much. It's kind of like the same sort of thing, right?
Tells us that when the Hospitallers' wealth had grown to massive levels, it hired some of these leftover Crusader knights, tasking them with protecting the Order's property, and with the pious goal of driving back the pagans. Gradually it is said that the martial elements which were brought into the order came to dominate it, and the normal priests were sidelined in positions of authority. Another account by one William Cowson, Vice-Chancellor of Rhodes, tells us a more heroic tale of his order's origins. He recounts instead that devout persons on pilgrimage took up arms for defense of the Catholic faith, induced by divine zeal. As might be expected, different versions inform us of different motivations and intentions, but what is certain is that a number of post-Crusade warriors took up the cross for the hospital as brothers-at-arms. By 1136, the Order's military strength, administrative prowess, and wealth had advanced to the extent that they were able to take up the defense and maintenance of Bethgabelin Castle.
That was a dumb joke, sorry. No one's gonna get it.
Which was granted to them by the King of Jerusalem. 6 years later, they were entrusted with even greater responsibilities over the frontier between Islamic-held lands and the county of Tripoli. Count Raymond II bestowed upon the Hospitallers castles at Crec de Chevalier, Anaz, Tel Kala, Kalat el Feliz, and Mardebek. They were to be held by the Order as quasi-independent fiefs in return for defending the border against Muslim forces, particularly Zangi of Mosul. Now with Order against Muslim forces, particularly Zangi of Mosul. Now with the foggy beginning of the Order's history established, we will go over its responsibilities of care and protection, looking at how the Hospitallers accomplished each one in turn. Christian teachings had always focused on a concern for the poor and needy. However, as Western Europe developed economically throughout the 11th century, the prominence of towns and the poverty they often generated was becoming more visible. Jerusalem was one of
Man, so you're telling me that like the big cities sucked even in the old days? That like no one has ever been able to do this right? That the big cities have always sucked ass? That's crazy.
Of these towns, having received many ill, impoverished or elderly pilgrims. The Hospitallers brought this reverence of poverty to a new level, portraying themselves as the serfs and slaves.
I just skipped the whole thing by like living far away from the city. I went to get dinner with my mom. It took me an hour. An hour to drive one way. 1 hour to drive to the city, 1 hour to drive back.
Of his lords, who were the sick people of the world. In that way, it seems
I don't mind it though, because I just either listen to podcasts like while I'm driving, just listen to podcasts, or I think about things. You know, like I put on some music and I think about like game design or something like that. Like, oh, like I gotta make this class, and I'll put on like some really good like anime music that's like kind of reminds me of the class I want to design, and then I just make it like while I'm driving and be like, yeah, what if they had this ability? And like, how would I make that ability? Okay, I would like do this, and like it's gonna have like these stats, and then I just do that basically. So like, even though it's like far, it's like you know, it's kind of interesting because like driving gives you like a lot of time to think about stuff.
That the Brothers of the Order imagined themselves as the property of their patients. To this end, an alderman's clothes were generally humble and minimal. He was expected to wash patients and remake their beds. This even extended to noble brothers of the sword, who would routinely surrender their war horses to provide transportation to injured men after battles. During their time in the Levant, the Hospitallers operated various institutions which were focused on treating diseases which were actually curable, compared to conditions like leprosy, which at the time were not. The Order's main hospital in their first headquarters of Jerusalem occupied a large space to the south of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. It possessed 11 wards and could, in a standard situation, take in as many as 1,000 patients. In a crisis situation, it could even be enlarged to deal with double that total, such as in the aftermath of the Battle of Mongiscar in 1177, when it admitted an extra 750 wounded in a short period, in addition to 900 regular patients. While a single main hospital in Jerusalem, and later in Acre, was the center of the Order's operations, it was by no means the only one. The Hospitallers also
people have been fighting for this place like fucking forever.
Ran the German Hospital of St. Mary in Jerusalem, the Infirmary of Aquabella, various graveyards to bury the dead, and even a mobile medical train which accompanied and supported Christian armies on campaign.
Is that why people are mad? Because Israel has it now? Is that why they're mad? It's kind of like it's because they have it now, and it's kind of like no takesies backsies, like now we have it, and like, okay, let's all be civilized, like no takesies backsies. That was going on.
The bulk of the work of healing the sick was performed by relatively highly educated physici, essentially physicians, who were employed and had something like medieval university degrees. Meanwhile, nursing was performed by servants of both sexes, who had to make the beds.
Yeah, that's true. Aren't they like the OGs though? I'm confused. I don't know.
Patients, talk to them, and perform other daily tasks. Very much contrary to most medical services of the Middle Ages, the Order also operated a makeshift ambulance service throughout the Holy City.
Guys, I need to find a good video to explain it, like the whole Israel thing, because like I don't really know, to be honest.
A 12th century directive to
it's never really interested me that much. I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be real.
Hospitaller Brothers states that if the nature of
basically the only thing I really saw, like whenever I think about anytime I think about like these places, it's just like, oh yeah, that's where the Crusaders went.
The illness of the poor deprives them of strength.
I don't really know like who controlled the area and whatever, like
they cannot make the effort to reach the hospital of St. John, mercifully seek them through the city and have them conveyed there by servants. Beyond their duties to the sick and poor, Hospitallers assisted the population with a facility which might be best compared to modern-day food banks. The poor of Jerusalem, and especially new mothers and their babies, could go to the Order's almonry.
I have a great idea, guys. I have a great idea. I have a plan. I know how we can solve the problem in the Middle East. So the Palestinians think that they deserve to have the Holy Land, and the Jews believe that they should deserve the Holy Land, like Israel and stuff, right? We should just give it to America. I think it would solve everything.
And receive money and food to sustain themselves.
Yes, a great, big, beautiful wall. We're gonna build a wall.
Also in service of young people was the large orphanage which the Hospitallers founded in Jerusalem. Babies were...
Actually, it'd be so cool. And then you could have you could renovate the place where like the Templars, where the Knights Hospitaller were and stuff. You could renovate it. You could have a little thing there. But can you imagine if you could go there and then you could buy souvenirs of like those ancient knights? It would be so sick.
Allotted well-paid wet nurses who were regularly subject to inspection by sisters of the Order. When the children grew up, they, including
you don't have to touch any of you don't have to touch any of the holy sites. You just leave those alone. But then the rest of it, you can you could put a roller coaster or something like that, like a little concession stand, sell some some Templar themed like food, it'd be you could have a dinner and a tournament.
Girls were educated and therefore could make a life for themselves in the world or continue to serve the Order. Their motivation for particularly focusing on children was as follows: recalling in loving memory.
They built another wall. Yeah, a wall, a bigger wall, a beautiful wall.
That whereas animals are born with protection against inclement weather, beasts with hair, birds with feathers, fish with scales, tortoises with shells, man alone is born naked.
The thing, dude, like in all seriousness, I'm memeing, but to be serious, I kind of wish I could go there. Like, I kind of want to. Like, I want to, like, I know my dad's been there, but like, I wanna go there sometime. But like, I'm scared. Like, actually, like, I'm kind of scared. Like, I don't want to get killed, you know. But like, I kind of wish I could go there and like not have like the possibility of being killed, you know. I really wish I could just visit and like kind of see the places. I think it'd be like really cool to see like a lot of the places like from the Bible, but then you know, I don't want to get kidnapped and beheaded and stuff. So yeah.
And defenseless. With their civilian and charitable services outlined, we will now detail the more
I kind of wish it wasn't like that. I wish you could go there without getting killed.
Famous branch of the Hospitaller Order. Those forces focused on defending Christians and engaging in military action alongside the Templars and other similar organizations. In the later 13th century, Master of the Order Hugh Revel believed that there were around 300 full Hospitaller brothers in the East. It is likely that this was the maximum number of knights in residence at any given time in the Order's Levantine history, primarily due to shortage of funds. These brothers in the East were recruited from amongst fit and relatively young men from Western Europe, while older members of the Hospitaller Order remained in Europe itself, administering the always expanding support.
Isn't Jerusalem relatively safe? Don't they blow places up all the time? Why can't you just be eating at a cafe and they just like RNG you? I thought that was a thing. Or they just like shoot some rockets, you know, like I don't know, I don't want to get hit by a rocket, you know?
And recruitment network. France and England were the primary manpower reserves from which the Hospitallers drew, followed by Bohemia and Hungary. While the Holy Roman Empire also had great potential, there was reluctance for Germans to join an order which was so close to the papacy when it and the empire were quarreling. Contrary to the popular perception, sword brothers of the Hospitaller Order were not solely recruited from the noble classes during the 12th and 13th centuries. That preference for those of knightly rank who
Is America constantly getting bombarded by mortar rockets? No, that wouldn't happen. If Mexico shot rockets into the United States, we would level the entire place. We've done it before.
Considerable donation only began during the 1260s. Before that point, all recruits simply had to be free, born legitimately, spiritually clean, fit to fight, and not in financial debt. A number of other small groups lingered on the edge of being a full Hospitaller brother. These included, but were not limited to, the Donats, noblemen who wished to join the order fully and had travelled to the Holy Land, but had to wait in a queue before they could take their oaths. Due to their almost permanent...
Guys, listen. Listen, guys. When 2 of our towers went down, 2 buildings, we blew up a country that had nothing to do with it. We're just like, fuck it, right? And just being real, we blew up our own towers, and we still got mad.
Lack of full brothers.
I'm just saying.
When disaster struck in battle, it could cripple the Order's military strength. However, appeals to Europe often made good the losses. After the disasters of 1187 against Saladin, a body of newly recruited Hospitallers from the west quickly came to the Holy Land and filled the void.
We still blew up a country.
When the
That's how crazy we are.
scarcity of full Hospitaller brothers is revealed, it can raise eyebrows and questions as to just how the order managed to maintain itself as a military
Iraq wasn't 9/11 though.
Power. The answer is that these oathed warriors
Weapons of mass destruction.
only formed the core of any Hospitaller army, whose numbers commonly had to be padded out with other warriors. Most of the Holy Lands made...
That's true. Asriel Nell says that. Yeah, that's right. Japan bombed the harbor, blew up some boats, and then we we literally, we gave them the cruel sun. We went like full Escanor. I mean, that's what happened.
Major interfaith confrontations required a unified Christian
cruel sun
in response, which would commonly include the Crusader state armies, along with both the Templars and Hospitallers. However, the Hospitallers themselves could muster more than just their few hundred brothers. In fact, a vast majority of the Order's soldiers...
That episode of South Park was so funny. I still remember that, like from when I was a kid. Try to bomb the harbor.
were actually mercenaries, many of them either indigenous light horsemen known as Turcopoles, or similarly armed Latin units who fought for pay. Mercenary units of engineers and siegecraft specialists were also employed to breach enemy fortifications. On many occasions, the order possessed siege weaponry, which skilled artisans would have been required to maintain and use. We will talk about
these things were like so badass, like the catapults.
Required to maintain and use. We will talk about other military orders in our future video.
Why are like catapults like they're just so cool? Like they're like simple, right? But then there's something so satisfying about like catapult firing. Isn't that a catapult? What is it? Isn't it the same thing basically? Okay, hold on. Hold on. Are you saying that it's different because it doesn't have like the thing here? Is that the difference? Is it because the thing isn't here? Wait, what's the difference? Hold on, wait, what's the difference between the catapult and the trebuchet? Is it just that the thing that you put it in is like on a rope instead? Is it different design and power? I see. Is the Glock the same as an AK? No, but they're both guns. Trebuchets have a counter lever design. Oh, I see. Oh, I see. So it's like I see. Okay. I get it. Okay,
Weaponry, which skilled artisans would have been required to maintain and use. We will talk about other military orders in our future videos, so make sure you are subscribed to our channel and have pressed.
Catapult is catapult is tension, and the other one is a counter rate. I see. This is what I think of when I was like thinking of a catapult, but the ones with the string on them are really cool. This is a cool channel. I actually like want to watch more like ancient history stuff. That area is so heated, man. People go crazy when it comes to that. A short vid after that. Okay, let me see it. Okay, let's see it.
Something with a counterweight, anything like that?
What? I really don't understand what you're trying to do.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm new here. I'm looking for a trebuchet. You have any idea where I can find one?
A what?
A trebuchet?
I have no idea what you're saying.
Oh, do you not know what a trebuchet is? Oh shit. Ah, fuck. Okay. It's like a catapult, but way superior to a catapult. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, why would I have that at school though?
Well, I don't know. Like let's say you needed to move a 90-kilogram object 300 meters.
Why do you need to do that?
That's pretty impressive.
If you were in a castle that was being besieged by an enemy army and they had a trebuchet, you'd have to know like how close they could get before they could hit you with a 90-kilogram projectile. And that's like life or death.
Obviously.
So, let's say this is real life. Okay, what exactly are you trying to do?
Let's say you're trying to...
Obviously, you'd want to know like the range, right?
Like
No, let's not say.
Okay, in the event that you're trying to breach a castle wall and you need to hurl a 90-kilogram...
Is that what you're trying to do?
Well, let's say I was doing that.
I mean, you're not gonna get up the walls. Like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna like put the ladder up, and you're gonna give the person you're gonna give the first person up the wall like a reward. Like, obviously, like you need to fuck the wall up before you can go there, right? I mean, I know that's what they did. They gave the people, like, whoever was like the first one in got like a reward, but like you gotta fuck the walls up first. Otherwise, you're just gonna lose a bunch of people.
Right? I wouldn't.
Is that what you're doing?
Well, not at this exact moment, but I felt like it was important, and also you're really cute, and I wanted to say something to you. So, I'm Ian, by the way. What's your name?
I'm Joey.
Joey. Hey, it's nice to meet you. Here, I actually gotta go. Let's get like a crepe sometime. What's your number?
For sure.
If you're not using maximum artillery in war, you're not trying hard enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially in a siege, right? Because if you're in like a siege situation.
Honestly, I
Why
just
wouldn't
thought you
you?
were cute and I wanted to come talk to you. Let's go to churro sometime. There you go. If you had to
Because if you're at range, with a trebuchet, like they can't even like hit you.
choose between a catapult and a trebuchet, like you should choose the trebuchet every single time.
Do you know where I can find the trebuchet building?
The which one?
The trebuchet?
I don't know that one. One more time.
Trebuchet.
Trebuchet.
It's like a medieval siege engine. Have you seen it? Have you heard of this?
No.
Oh, it's crazy. They can launch like 90-kilogram objects over 300 meters.
There's a building for that here?
No, not really. I thought you were really cute and I had nothing else to say.
Oh my god.
I'm Ian. What's your name?
Katrina.
Do you know like how far 300 meters is?
Hell no, dude.
300 meters is how far you could throw a 90-kilogram projectile with a trebuchet.
It's vastly superior to the catapult. Like one uses torsion, the other uses... I don't know why I'm still talking about trebuchets. I gotta go, but like, you wanna get a falafel or something sometime?
Sure.
These trebuchet facts are fucking awesome. What's your number?
You know what though? Ironically, I would totally go for this because this is that the conversation is going to be interesting, right? You already know that you're gonna have good conversations if they open up with trebuchets. Like that's crazy. Like who the fuck would talk about that, right? Like that's much more preferable than like, oh yeah, did you hear the new song by like whatever? Like who gives a fuck about that?
209.
Oh wow, yeah, I never would have known that.
Yeah, well, I mean, honestly, I just thought you were cute and I wanted to come talk to you. Yeah, let me get your number.
Sure.
You see, I have this 90 kilogram object. I'm trying to move 300 meters. Do you know like where? Because all they have is catapults around here and torsion equipment. I really need a counterweight solution.
I'm sorry, I have no idea.
Oh, that's fine. Let me get
Did you hear the new song from Ye?
your number. Let's get tacos sometime.
I just got through telling that large group about the importance of trebuchets in modern society.
Well, they're more important than catapults, for sure.
Wait, let me get your number.
I do have a boyfriend, but...
Really? Can I get... Yeah?
Yeah, sure.
Catapult versus trebuchet. If you had to pick one.
I was gonna say catapult because it sounds more familiar to me.
Oh, that's frustrating. All right, yeah. I mean, I guess I'll take your number anyway.
Okay.
Again, like I said, like you'll know that you'll have good you'll have some good conversations, right?